Erik Thorvaldsson was his true name, but people called him Erik the Red. His hair was the color of fire. His beard, too, was a fierce, burning red. He was born in Norway, a land of fjords and mountains. This was long ago, around the year 950. It was the time of the Vikings, a time of brave sailors and long voyages across dark seas. Life was harsh then, but men were strong and bold. Erik grew up hearing the sagas of heroes. His father was Thorvald Asvaldsson. Like his father, Erik had a spirit that burned bright. He was quick to anger, quick to draw his sword. In those days, a man needed to be strong. He learned to sail the dragon-prowed longships. He learned the ways of fighting, the clash of steel. These skills were vital for a Viking youth. He was not a man to be trifled with easily. His temper was a wild thing, hard to control. It would lead him into many troubles later. The Norse people valued courage above many things. They sang songs of brave deeds and great warriors, but they also had laws, ancient and stern. Sometimes disputes were not settled with words. They were settled with axes and with swords. This often led to blood feuds, lasting for years, and sometimes it led to banishment from the land. A man like Erik, with his hot blood, often found danger. His path was set for adventure, for good or ill. He was a true son of that wild northern land. Change was coming to Norway in those times. Kings were growing stronger, their power spreading. They sought to bring all the land under their rule. Some Vikings did not like this new order. They yearned for the old freedoms, the old ways. Perhaps Erik's family felt this restlessness in their hearts, or perhaps it was simply Thorvald's own actions. The old stories tell us he was a man of action, but his actions made him enemies, powerful ones. This was the beginning of Erik's long journey away from home. The reason for leaving Norway was stark and grim. Erik's father, Thorvald, had killed a man. In those days, killing led to outlawry, to exile, so the whole family had to leave their home. They packed their few belongings onto a ship. They sailed west over the cold, gray waves. Erik was just a boy then, perhaps 10 summers old. He watched the shores of Norway fade behind him. This was his first taste of being an outcast. It was a hard lesson, learned young and not forgotten. They found a new home in Iceland. Iceland was a raw, new land settled by Norwegians, a land of smoking volcanoes and shining glaciers. Many had come here seeking freedom from Norway's kings. Here, Erik grew to manhood, strong and tall. He married a woman named Theodhild. She was good and steadfast, a Norse woman of worth. They had sons, and one was named Leif Erikson, who would also sail into legend. Erik built a farm and tried to live in peace, but peace was not a cloak that Erik wore easily. His fiery red temper still burned within him. Soon he was caught in quarrels in Iceland too. He argued with his neighbors over some carved seat posts. These posts were precious, brought from his old home. Then his thralls, his servants, caused a landslide. It destroyed his neighbor Valthjof's farm. Valthjof's kinsman, Eyjolf the Foul, killed Erik's thralls. In revenge, Erik killed Eyjolf and another man. He was judged an outlaw, banished from Iceland for 3 years. Once more, Erik had to leave his home. He could not return to Norway, his birthplace. He could not stay in Iceland, his adopted land. But he had heard whispers, old sailors' tales, stories of a vast, unknown land far to the west. A man named Gunnbjorn Ulfsson had sighted it, seen its icy mountains from his ship long ago. Erik decided he would seek out this mysterious shore. He gathered his ship, his weapons, his loyal men. He sailed into the setting sun, towards the unknown. The year was about 982, a time for daring. Erik steered his longship west from Iceland's coast. The journey was fraught with peril, a true test. The North Atlantic Ocean is a cruel, cold master. Great waves like green mountains rose and crashed. Fierce winds tore at their sail, testing the mast. Huge, ghostly icebergs drifted silently in the gray water. They were like floating islands of ancient ice. But Erik and his small crew were Vikings. They were fearless, skilled in the ways of the sea. They held their course, driven by hope. After many days battling sea and storm, they saw it, land, a dark line on the distant western horizon. What relief, what joy must have filled their hearts. They had found the land of Gunnbjorn's old sighting. Erik was the first Norseman to truly explore it. He had reached a new continent, a new world opening. He steered his ship closer to the unknown coast. His eyes scanned the shore, searching for a safe harbor. He was eager to set foot on this new earth. What would this land offer an exiled man? For 3 long years, Erik explored this new country. This was the term of his banishment from Iceland. He sailed along the rugged, indented coastline. He ventured into the deep, silent fjords. He looked for places where folk might live and thrive. The land was immense, wild, and often frozen. Towering mountains pierced the cold, clear sky. Vast sheets of ice, glaciers, covered much of it. But in some sheltered fjords, he found green valleys. Grass grew there, a welcome sight in that icy realm. He noted these places carefully in his mind. When his exploration was done, he knew he needed a name, a good name, a name that would draw others. He wanted settlers to follow him to this new place. So he chose the name Greenland. He said it was a land of good prospects. He spoke of green pastures, fertile for farming. This was a clever choice, a kind of hopeful promise. Even though much of the island was indeed ice, the name was a lure, a beacon for the land-hungry. He hoped it would persuade people to risk the journey. When Erik's 3 years of exile were ended, he sailed back to Iceland, his mind full of plans. He had grand tales to tell of the land he had found. He spoke with passion about Greenland, his discovery. He described its sheltered fjords, its green meadows. He told of abundant hunting seals, walrus, and reindeer. He painted a vivid picture of a land of opportunity. The people of Iceland listened, their interest caught. Life in Iceland was not always easy. Land was scarce. Many were eager for a new beginning, a fresh start. Erik's words offered them a vision of hope. Erik was a strong leader, a man of powerful words. He was persuasive, and his stories were exciting. He convinced many Icelanders to join his great venture. He promised them land of their own and freedom. In the year 985 or 986, a large fleet gathered. 25 ships, filled with hopeful colonists. They carried men, women, and their children. They brought their livestock, cattle, sheep, and goats, and all their tools and household goods. They put their trust in Erik the Red's vision. They sailed for this new, promising Greenland. The journey to Greenland was long and hard. Not all the 25 ships made it safely. Some were forced to turn back by terrible storms. Others were lost to the cruel, hungry sea. But 14 ships, bearing hundreds of souls, arrived. Erik led them to the best places he had found. He established 2 main settlements for the colonists, the eastern settlement and further north, the western settlement. He himself built a fine farm called Brattahlid. It was in the eastern settlement, in a green fjord. Life was a struggle, but they were hardy folk. Erik the Red, the fiery outcast, became a great chieftain. He was the founder of the first European colony in Greenland. His adventure was a bold stroke against fate. The Norse settlements in Greenland lasted for centuries, nearly 500 years, a testament to their endurance. And Erik's son, Leif, sailed even further west. Leif Erikson reached the shores of North America. Erik's journey did not just find a new land. It opened a new chapter in the story of exploration. He showed that courage could carve a home even in ice. His name lives on, a legend of the Viking Age.